Hello and welcome back to Tits, Tums and All Things Mum. Once again, before I introduce today's guest, I'm going to go get you guys to head over to Tits, Tums and All Things Mum on Instagram, click the link in the bio and get your tickets for Tits on Tour. They are on sale now, September the 23rd at the Wild Theatre in Bracknell. It's going to be a wild night. Bit of chaos, bit of carnage, lots of fun, lots of surprises, lots of amazing guests, and just a night for mums to let their hair down and have a great night. So head on over and get your tickets. But today's guest, I have got the lovely Laura from the Mindful Generation. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. So I am a clinical hypnotherapist and parent coach, and I'm a mum of boys. Mm-hmm. And I support mums. I basically empower mums to live a life where they can thrive and where they can strip back all their conditioning and, yeah, essentially just kind of do better. I generally work with people who are like perfectionists, high achievers, and who are struggling with guilt, that kind of thing. All the things we tend to feel quite a lot as mums. Yeah. And I help them to kind of rewire all of that at a subconscious level.
You'd have a freaking field day with me. all of those things.
Most people, when they ask me what I do, that is the response I get.
Yeah, so, yeah. Maybe it's just a mum thing. Like,
it is.
You just, once you've had children, you just become such a people pleaser, perfectionist, like everything, you let go of looking after yourself and your own needs and you look after everyone else's needs, and then you just get stuck in this like vicious cycle, don't you?
Absolutely. And I think it's a woman thing. I think it's a female thing. I think your conditioning when you're young, usually as a girl, it's like, good girl, be a good girl, do this, be a good girl, and, you know, hug Uncle Peter, and, you know, you're told to basically do things that you may not feel hugely comfortable with. Yeah. You're going sort of against your own basic human needs a lot of the time because we're meant to be good girls, and so it's really hard. A lot of people don't realise, and it's once you have children that you sometimes it clicks into place and you're like, oh, I'm doing that because my mum or dad or whoever told me that I've got to be a good girl. And perfectionism was something that I struggled with for a long time, and I've had to kind of really strip that back. And but it's all about noticing and just having that self-awareness and then going from there. But and also, like, you know, it's, if you've got a partner at home, I think the conditioning that this is where it gets really interesting, because we often have a lot of resentment towards our partners if they're not doing much at home, and if we've got exactly, like, this is so common. The domestic load falls on us. We're constantly battling with the invisible load, and sometimes we just have that full resentment and anger towards our partners, but actually their conditioning is that, I mean, in the case with me and my husband, you know, his mum kind of did everything, and that was modelled to him. So it's not really his fault. And I sort of have compassion for him now, because for a long time I was just angry at him. And now I'm like, oh, okay, you just think this is the way for it that it's supposed to be. You just think that I am basically the mum of all of us in the house, but actually, no, fuck that.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Cover My Bubble. Emma and Chris lost their baby girl Lily Beth at 1 month old and faced financial struggles on top of their grief due to not having life insurance. Now they help others by offering insurance for parents, children and bumps, covering critical illness to income protection. Visit covermybubble.co.uk to cover your bubble. But I think they also don't realise that either, do they?
No,
they don't realise that you're mothering them as well. But like, I've had to look back at like his previous like generation and how he must have been brought up, and like he was very much brought up with like get me a tea kind of situation. Whereas if he fucking dared do that to me,
I know,
clip round the ear. But like, he's now had to undo that, and like I still very much see it now that his mum does everything for everyone, and so he's used to having a woman do everything for everyone. So now he's kind of like subconsciously allowing me to do everything for everyone. And we still haven't fully undone it, I won't lie. I still resent him very much sometimes. Because like, he'll get in from work and he'll sit on the sofa, whereas I get in from work and I'm like, right, there's washing that needs to be done, there's a dishwasher that needs to be done, the lunches need packing, this needs doing. And I'm like, how do we undo that and make us both a bit more like in the centre of that conditioning, rather than both very much on like stuck on it? How do we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. And you raised a good point about how I just think they're not aware.
Yeah.
And it's just a role that they have fallen into. And also I have no kind of like anger or like judgment towards the people of the, the generation that fell before us. Like my mother-in-law is wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's just, back then they did less work. They were probably in the home more.
Yeah.
And when I was working full time and the domestic stuff still fell on me, I ended up reaching burnout, which is why, and that's when I kind of evolved my business, because it started out as conscious parenting. But once I hit burnout and I was like, hang on a minute, I had this huge realisation of like, oh, I'm doing everything. There's loads of resentment, there's loads of anger, but the conscious parenting is going great, but there's still a load of other stuff that needs to be like shifted and rewired and undone and unlearned, because I'm still doing so much stuff at home and we need to fix that. And so I started having open conversations with my husband after I had recovered from burnout, but it had to come from a place of compassion, because prior to that it was coming from a place of resentment, and the way that I navigated those conversations was just not helpful. It would be basically a passive aggressive sort of like
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and it's
I'll be like, oh, you're having a nice time sat there on your phone while I'm doing fucking everything.
Yeah, those sorts of things. And I'd be like, right, so I'm just going to go and do this and this, and then later on I'm just going to go and, like, after the kids are in bed, I'm going to go and do a bit more work. And and I'd sort of say it because I didn't directly have the confidence or the maturity, I suppose, to navigate it in a sensible and like mature and emotionally intelligent way.
Yeah.
And once I'd done the work on myself, which involved a bit more healing and subconscious work and that kind of thing, but I also I had different types of therapies, but I was communicating all of that to him as well, because I was like, look, I'm noticing that I'm falling into this role and you're doing this, but I think it's because of this. And so I think he found me really annoying when I started doing all this work. I think he was like, oh, seriously, who have you turned into? This is just weird. You're like really boring and doing my head in. But then he started noticing. And what made him notice the most was when I basically completely lost my libido because I was so stressed. Yeah. And I was like completely burnt out.
Bloody typical. The men listen when it's got to do with sex.
Well, it's true. And I think that it's a horrible wake-up call, because you're like, it shouldn't reach that stage. But when women are, when we're so stressed that we can't access our libido and access pleasure anymore, it's really hard, because our body is in a stress response, and it's in this cycle of, you basically can't, I don't know how to explain it, but when we're in a stress state, we can't access pleasure or desire, whereas men, they can use sex as stress relief. And we're just like, lucky for me, fuckers. I know, exactly. But for me, I was like, I don't feel safe at a nervous system level to want to go there. Yeah. And so once I'd found out about that and I explained it to my husband, he started reading a load of books. And that's when things really shifted, because obviously for him, he was like, oh, we'll all benefit from this. Yeah. Like, rather than listening to me moaning and like doing it the old way, he was like, okay, this is... Because we realise, like, if we're happy as a couple and we can also model a happy relationship to our kids, it's going to have a knock-on effect all around the whole household. And it did.
So basically, you help, I will have sex with you.
That's sort of what happened. Yeah, and that's not going to be the same for everyone. Yeah. That was just my experience. Also, I did have, like, birth trauma. So there was, like, a bit of unblock. I did, like, EFT tapping with... a coach. She was a coach friend of mine, actually. She's a fertility coach and she's very spiritual, but she did a load of EFT tapping with me. So there was that element of it helped as well, because I think I was in my womb space, I was holding on to like birth trauma and we had to release that in order for, and it all just sort of slotted into place. So so that's a little bit about my healing journey and how that also sort of fit into my business and how the business evolved, because now I'm very passionate about helping mums to not let stress and anxiety and all of those unhelpful things take over their lives. And having helpful conversations with partners and kids as well, like kids, getting them to help out more at home, but also just undoing and unlearning all of that. And it's all nervous system stuff. It's all relating to the brain and the nervous system and our own, like what was modelled to us. It's just all like parts of the puzzle that fits into place.
I think it is really hard though, because I think we are in the middle generation. Like in generations to come, I hope that this would have been undone, because women are having to work a lot more, and like I think that will just be accepted, that where we're working 50-50, the household stuff will be split 50-50. But I feel like we're in a middle generation where we're still kind of stuck between the past where women didn't work and the future where women do work. and we're trying to do it all, but we can't do it all because there's not enough hours in the day to do it all. We're getting constantly burnt out, and we're the ones that are having to sort of undo this for future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think a lot of this is a society problem. Like we're in it. Like, I mean, look at the school system. There's so
Don't get me started on the school system, because I hate the school system. I wish I had the brain power to homeschool my children. I couldn't, because I'd lose my shit every single day. But the school system is broken.
Yeah, it's totally broken. Yeah. It's very Victorian. There's so much that needs to change about it. My children are pretty happy at school, but we had a few years with my eldest where he's highly sensitive, and going into school was a battle. And he wasn't happy with one of his teachers for quite a long time. And I totally agree with you. I would love to homeschool. Yeah. In fact, I'm getting someone on my podcast soon who's going to talk all about that. So I'll get you to listen to that, because I think it'll be a really good episode. Yeah. But yeah, again, I agree. It's really hard to do that when you haven't got the means at home or like the support. Yeah. But there's different versions of it. Like there's communities around that. I think you'd be surprised. I don't know if you've looked into it, but like
I just have basically accepted that I couldn't, because I work too much, because I'm neurodivergent. I just don't think I'd be able to cope with having the children with me 24/7, because I need them to go to school for that little bit of like silence in the house.
Yeah, I'm the same.
So as much as I wish that I could like protect them from that school environment, I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just teach them that not telling them the school system is broken, but just teach them like it's okay to be you and to not be this person that the school are trying to make you be. It's okay to not fit in the box that they're trying to put you into.
Brilliant.
And so I'm just trying to do that bit from home rather than actually homeschooling them.
Yeah, that's fab. And I think that's the best thing you can say to your child. Just be you. Don't try and fit into a box. Don't try and mask. Like, try and be authentically you. Yeah. And there are going to be moments at school where they don't feel safe at a nervous system level. There's probably going to be meltdowns and really difficult moments with teachers at school. But then if you can hold space for them at home when they have those difficult days, that's also key as well. Yeah. I've got another coach friend, like she's a parent coach, but she does a lot of work in the SEN environment, and I think that we're going to start seeing, I'm always really hopeful and really optimistic, but I think we're going to start seeing some changes.
I bloody hope so.
Yeah,
it's hard. It is really hard. And like, I can already see my daughter's spirit like dampened, because she is very sensitive as well. And she basically has been trying to conform to what she thinks she has to be at school. And it's breaking my heart. And like, my son is much more outwardly himself, and I don't want them to dampen his spirit. I want him to be able to be him and be his quirky little self and not be shoved into a box. So he starts in September, and I'm freaking out a little bit. So I'm like, don't go, because I want him to stay like how he is. Like, he's so quirky and like just lovely and sweet, and I don't want them to try and like make him not like that anymore. Yeah,
I think just have good communication with the school as well. Like, just be honest about, don't ever feel like you're being that parent, because I've had many meetings with school about different things, and I'm like, look,
they do make you feel like you're that parent, though.
And I know they're understaffed and underfunded, and I feel for them, because I think they've got a lot on their plates. Yeah. But there are children at the end of the day. It's like, I'm going to be that parent, but I have to be, because I just want my children to feel happy at school, like they all should. And so, it's a tricky one to navigate, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So, with your work, you do different types of work. So hypnosis, NLP and EFT. Yeah. So in layman's terms, for those who don't know what those things are, what are they?
So hypnotherapy is working with your subconscious mind. So it's not, you're not out of control. You don't feel like you're out of control, or that I'm not going to sort of wave something in front of you and make you cluck like a chicken, which is what a lot of people ask me.
Like you see in the TV, they're like the white and black thing going round.
Look into my eyes. You remember there was that sketch with Matt Lucas used to do a sketch. But no, it's nothing like that. You're in control the whole time. So basically, it's super relaxing. You're hyper focusing on the words that I'm saying. So I'm essentially reading out, or just using my words to speak to your subconscious and with your goal in mind. So that's where it differs from meditation. So meditation is usually like you really relax and your brain waves slow down, but there's not really usually a specific goal in mind. Whereas hypnosis, there's a goal, and I'm based on the assessment that we would have worked through initially, I then talk through the issue or the challenge that you're having, and you go into a trance state. So your brainwaves slow down to the theta states, which means they're nice and slow. You may not remember it when you come out, but your subconscious remembers. So essentially, it's just super relaxing. You lie there. I do it all via Zoom. I might have local clients who I do it face-to-face with, but it's just really relaxing, really calming. Even after the first session, people notice a difference, so it's quick, and that's why people enjoy it, because you get quick results. So what else can I say on hypnotherapy? Yeah, and it's great for so many things. It's great for, obviously, we all know about it for like smoking, emotional eating. Like for me, I did it for emotional eating because I was eating a lot of dairy milk. And I was telling someone recently, like after a 40-minute session, like that habit was gone. It was really quick. And it's great but it's all like, I use it for things like rewiring, the guilt, the perfectionism, like people being addicted to work and the high achiever kind of tendencies and that kind of stuff, and trauma as well. It's good for that. NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. So neuro is like the brain and how it processes things. Linguistic is language, and programming is obviously like our memories and how past experiences have allowed us to program that in our brains. So it's fascinating because I kind of blend that with the hypnotherapy. So that's essentially the coaching. So it's like future focused. So sometimes with the hypnotherapy, we might work on something that's from the past, go to the root cause, and then the coaching works well because we then focus on the future and how you want to, sort of move forward. And it's all like self-development. It's basically self-development work and coaching you through how to be the best version of yourself. And when I was training in NLP, actually, again, like I've probably wound my husband up so much, because when you start to notice people's language and pick up on it, you can't help but analyse it. So I would notice people saying, like just having a chat with someone, and I'd notice people saying things like, oh yeah, but I would never be able to earn that, or I'd never be able to do that. And I'd be like, hang on a minute, like and I'd question it, like where's this coming from? And I think I got quite annoying because in the beginning, when I first trained, I was like that annoying person that was like just coaching people, but without realising I was doing it, because I was just like, this language is very interesting. Like, where has that stemmed from? That's a limiting belief. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, which is otherwise known as tapping. And it's essentially acupuncture without the needles. So we have meridian points throughout our body, and it's working with the ends of those meridian points. So you have like one here, one here, one here, here, and on top of your head. So throughout your body, you tap through whilst you're it's like wording out like affirmations. So it's based on what a client has told me. I'll create affirmations, I say them, and they repeat after me, and we do it whilst we tap. And it's basically releasing energy blocks, and it's like a somatic technique that helps it helps to shift like trauma and blocks and stuck emotions from the body and release them out. So again, I blend it in, and it works really well. Yeah, I love that. It's really powerful.
And do you find that these techniques work with stressed mums to sort of get rid of all of that programming from the past that makes them feel like they have to be everything for everyone?
Yeah. It's sometimes the stress, it depends on the client, but sometimes stress can be not just the fact that they want to work hard and keep working. It can be so many different things. It could be that someone is suffering with like high functioning anxiety, and that's causing stress because everything has to be thought about constantly, and the future is just like always a problem and just constant worry. And so that can like feed into the stress. But then it could be that they also have, I don't know, like let's say, for example, they've got a holiday coming up and they're afraid of flying. So we might then like use the hypnotherapy, feed that in and work through that. So I do it as a holistic solution. So we work through different parts of their lives to work through the stresses. So I suppose I'm kind of more like a life coach for mums because I'm just working through anything that's going on in their life that is causing them to be like not the parent that they wish to be, and they to get them to where they want to be in their parenting and in their work. And it's always the juggle that's and like I said before, we've got a lot of systemic problems with the government and childcare issues and schools and all the rest of it. But there's a lot that we can do ourselves to try and just regulate a lot.
Yeah.
For me, I realised I was addicted to stress because I reached burnout, and
I'm definitely addicted to work and stress.
Yeah, and it's really common.
Yeah.
And I think it's often because it was either modelled to us or because we were feeding off that cortisol that I'll have to use me as an example because it's the easiest thing for me to do. But like my dad was, he was a civil servant. He became self-employed when he was sort of in his 40s. And all I remember was him working from his desk at home and being like, his stress management was terrible, like just shouting and swearing all the time and rushing through everything and just being really chaotic.
Yeah.
And because I thought that was normal, subconsciously, I was like, when I became self-employed, I was like, oh, okay, I just need to do this and this. But then I would almost like create chaos for myself because I subconsciously was doing that because I thought that's how you need to do it. And that's because that was familiar to me. So at a subconscious level, it felt safe.
Yeah.
So we tend to just do what feels safe and familiar because that was modelled. And for me, like feeling calm and relaxed and regulated didn't feel safe in my nervous system. So accessing that was really hard. Yeah. So I've had to strip it all back and to rework that. Was weird at first, but now I'm like, and I used to make myself late. I used to make myself and the kids late for the school run because I would create the chaos deliberately, subconsciously, because I was addicted to stress. Yeah. And when I realised that, I was like, fucking hell. Yeah. I was doing that without...
The things we do to ourselves without even actually realising we're doing it. Yeah. It's mental, isn't it?
It's self-sabotage. Yeah. And a lot of people just don't realise. That's why it works so well, because once I can dig in and get you to answer questions and or clients to like, and assess it all. I'm like, do you think that could be linked to that? Yeah. And often they come with one thing, but really the problem is like rooted in something completely different.
It's crazy, isn't it? The brain is such a like wild thing that it can do all of this and we just don't even know that it's doing it. Yeah. It just, we're just living our lives.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because most of what we do is autopilot. Yeah. Like this is, 95% of what we do is driven by our subconscious. Yeah. So our habits, our beliefs, our behaviours, it is all mostly autopilot. And so that's why, if you find yourself shouting at your kid one day, it might happen again the next day and the next day because we're on a loop. Yeah. And trying to rewire that is hard unless you're kind of working with the subconscious, and then it can be actually quite easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, amazing. Yeah. So on that note, we are going to head to our show and tell section. So for this segment, we are going to be working through something. So I posted on my stories the other day about my daughter. She's hit this 7-year hormone leap thing that happens at the age of 7, and she's really struggling with mood swings at the moment. And I'm feeling quite like triggered by the mood swings. I, as a child, often didn't get that like ability to regulate my emotions. That's come as an adult. So seeing her being unable to regulate her emotions and deal with it is triggering me. And we spoke before about what we were going to do this on, and that's what we're going to kind of work through now. Yeah. So do you want to explain what we're going to do?
Yeah. So we're going to do an NLP technique. And first of all, we're going to start with a bit of inner child work, basically. So we're going to do a guided visualisation. So we'll start with inner child work for you based on how you would have felt when you were a similar age as your daughter and when you didn't have those needs met, when you were expressing yourself authentically. And then we'll do another guided visualisation afterwards, which will be future pacing. So looking at your future self and essentially just like a better version of you that will be, like your highest self in terms of parenting, but also I'll bring in the success of your business and the rest of your life. And amazing. And that will be quite... And
is this something people can like do similar with at home as well if they're listening or watching?
Yeah, so if people are listening, they can do it as long as it's safe to close your eyes. You can do it at home.
Don't be doing it if you're driving.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't close your eyes.
Or operating machinery. Yeah. But if you're listening on audio, this is something you can do. And it's quite simple, so you can actually do it in your own time. If you listen to it a couple of times, you can do it in your own time when you have time to do it. So I'm going to ask you, if you're okay for me to just lead, how old were you when your daughter triggers you and she has these big emotions and you do feel that like visceral kind of like triggering moment, how old were you when you would have, like if you were like feeling that when you were young, like the way that you were expressing and maybe your caregivers didn't give you the validation that you needed. How old would you have been roughly?
I'd probably say a bit older than her. I'd probably maybe say like 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'd like to invite you to just close your eyes, and I want you to just imagine about 10 feet in front of you, there's a large TV screen. And that TV screen is showing a video, and it's black and white. And the video is 12-year-old version of you. And she's happy, but she's also feeling like she's got a little bit of frustration in there at the same time. And I want you to just visualise yourself floating over and into the screen. And she's starting to feel frustration because she has had some sort of expression, she's had some sort of big emotion, and her needs haven't been met. So I just want you to picture that now. And the video is black and white. And once you've got that image in your mind, I'd like you to just pause the video. And then I'd like you to just sit with her and just give her the reassuring words and the loving, healing, kind words that she would need to hear. And I'll give you a moment to do that. And once she's been given those words of reassurance and love and healing from you, you can either give her a hug or hold her hand and just shower her in the love that she needs. And then I want you to take yourself back out and back into yourself now. But keep your eyes closed and bring her with you. And just hold that healed version of her into your heart. And then you can come back out when you're ready.
Oh, that's really nice. That makes me a little bit emotional.
Oh, yeah, it does. It does. I do these things with myself when something comes up for me, and I get emotional as well.
Yeah.
So and that's healing. That's why we do it, because the emotions come through, and then and we heal. So that's why NLP is amazing. Same as hypnotherapy, because it's quite quick.
Yeah.
So should we visit the future you?
Yes. Yeah. Let's go. Jesus Christ. Dread to think.
No, she's going to be good. She's going to be all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I invite you again to close your eyes, and we're going to do a similar thing. So just imagine a TV screen about 10 feet in front of you. And I want you to just see a video of yourself. And this time it's full of colour. And I want you to visualise this happy, healthy, successful, fun version of you. And you decide how far in the future this is. And I want you to see how happy and healthy she is in her parenting, in her work, and in all parts of her life. And I want you to float over to the screen and just put yourself in her shoes and embody this version of Lottie now. See what she sees, hear what she hears, feel what she feels, and just be with her for a moment. I'll give you the time to just embody that successful, healthy, happy version. And then I would like you to just picture her the happiest she's been in a long time. Everything's going really well, the success of the business, the parenting at home, everyone is regulated and calm at home, your relationship's incredible. And I want you to just feel that feeling of pure happiness, good health, and embody it, and imagine it's a colour. So the feeling is a colour within your chest. And I want you to imagine that colour now and feel into it. And as you're feeling into that colour, I want you to just imagine that the colour is floating through your shoulders, down through your arms and to your fingertips. And then it's floating up through to your head, and then down your torso, your legs, and into your feet. And I want you to times it by 10, intensify it, brighten it, make it sparkly, and then times it by 10 again and again, and really embody that successful, healthy, happy future version of you. And then when you're ready, you can come back out.
That's good. Do you know, I found it harder, that one, to visualise all of that stuff, because sometimes I find it harder to believe that will be the case. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I was probably going quite fast because like in a real session, we'd probably slow it down, and I'd probably intensify it and make it a bit more, because it's good to really, like, as a coach, you sometimes have to really motivate and get in the moment and use your language, and which is quite hard to do here in a studio. In a session it would be a little bit more in depth. But I know what you mean. It's hard to visualise when you don't fully believe it. And then so that shows
got all those limiting beliefs that you can do those things.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's showing you that you've got some beliefs there that you can probably work through. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
But you're totally, you can do it. You're capable, like more than capable of being that version of you.
Yeah, so, I think it's just the stress and burnout, isn't it, of like doing it all that makes us mums think, oh, well, we can't do it all. So, yeah.
I like to tell people they fucking can.
Yes, you fucking
can do
it. I love that. Amazing. So let's head on now to spin and spill with the wheel.
Okay.
So here it is. Here's our spin and spill wheel. So if you want to give it a good spin, we'll see what you get. Oh, what's been your biggest parenting fail?
I was hoping I wouldn't get this one.
Oh, is that because you're an incredible mum who's never had any parenting fails? Because I love that for you.
Absolutely not. Do you know what? It was probably when I was thinking about this one the other day, and the only thing I can think of that's like probably a good one is when my baby was, well, he's 8 now, but when he was 3 months old, and actually might have been a bit older, and I left him on the bed because I thought that he couldn't roll, he couldn't do anything. He's just always been still, and he rolled off the bed.
Oh no.
My God. But I wasn't in the room. I'd popped into the other room. And the thump and the screaming, like you've never heard me leg it so fast into a room to go and save it. He was fine. Like he's, you know, they've got like really soft bones and everything.
Well, you think you're I'm not going to say that. You think that was a parenting fail of yours. I had a friend whose baby did that and broke his leg.
Oh no.
Yeah, imagine how bad you'd feel.
Oh my God,
like
you'd feel awful.
Like it can't be helped. You know, these things happen, but imagine breaking a bone.
Yeah, I've heard stories like that actually. Of like,
because they're so brittle and like, what is the word for their bones are really soft, aren't they? So they break really easily.
Yeah.
So
I mean, luckily, there was carpet, and I think there was a blanket on the floor as well. Like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, bless
awful.
you. Yeah. We've all done things like that. My daughter tipped a cup of tea over herself when she was little. Oh, no. Actually, touch wood, my son hasn't done anything like that. And like, I mean, he's a bit of a wild child and chucks himself off of everything, but he's never like really injured himself doing stuff like that. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
good for a boy as
I
well,
know.
especially if he's a wild
How
child.
have we gotten away with this? Like, my daughter's the one who's broken bones.
Really?
So,
I'm scared of broken bones. I don't want to. I've never broken one in my life, like touch wood, and I really don't want my kids to. Yeah,
my mum had a permanent parking space at Heatherwood Hospital because me and my brother, like, because I was quite a tomboy, and we used to just go and do stupid stuff and break bones regularly.
Really?
So I expect that from my children, and actually my daughter has done it twice already, and she's only 7. So
it's all a learning curve, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah. Resilience building.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we're gonna head over and do stroller speedway. How are you feeling about it?
Quite excited, but a little bit nervous actually.
Amazing. Yeah. Let's head over.
Let's go.
So here we are at Stroller Speedway. Where do you think you're going to sit on our leaderboard?
Maybe the middle if I'm lucky.
I feel like there's a lot of people sort of around this middle area. So we'll see where you go.
We'll see.
So the situation is she's done a poo. You're going to take her out. You're going to clean her up as clean as you'd like your own child. Put the fresh nappy back on. Do her vest up. Put her back in the pushchair. Slalom that way, touch my shoulder to finish.
Right.
Any questions?
No.
And I'll give you a countdown to start and then we'll get going.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, strangling her.
Straight in there.
Strangle.
Love it.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Interesting to see how the peanut butter is compared to Nutella.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just going to get as many whites.
That looks more realistic. That looks more like a baby poo than Nutella did.
Oh God, sorry, love. You know when your
breastfed
babies' poo is probably this sort of colour, I reckon.
Yeah, although that one looks a little bit like it needs a bit of like something, a bit constipated.
I touched it, and in my mind, I convinced myself it was real poo.
Well, when I'm pooing the nappy, like before in the green room, if I get the Nutella on my fingers, I can't lick it off because subconsciously, like, it is poo.
Oh my God, this is so... Yeah,
you're doing
this
well.
is like I'm
this.
not used to doing girls.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of crevices.
A lot of crevices. Oh, it's going on my finger. Ooh. Oh my God, yeah, she's got it in the crevices.
Yeah, that's all
Oh,
right.
sorry.
You are at a minute.
Oh my God, right, I'm just going to crack on. I reckon that's clean.
Yeah, it looks pretty clean.
Sorry about the floor. The floor is not clean.
That's all right.
Tasty. Okay, no, which way round does it go? That way?
Yeah,
now
that's
I'm panicking.
You've got this.
You know, when you're watching others do it and you think, I reckon I could do it faster than that, and then you do it in real life and you're like, no, absolutely not.
I know.
It's actually harder than
everyone
you think.
gives it the big one when they get here, and then they're like, oh my God, it's actually harder than it looks.
Exactly. Right,
Go for it. Slalom. Yeah. See, I told you to take out the cones.
Oh my God.
Don't worry about taking out the cones.
I'm sort of floating in the air.
Touch my shoulder. Well done. Well, you are not in the middle.
No, I know. It took bloody ages.
I was going to say you are sort of in the middle, but then I was like, no, maybe not. You're at 1 minute 39.
Oh, that's rubbish.
So you are kind of nearer the end than the middle. Oh, blimey. You are under Amy from Secrets of the School Run and above Ali from Inspired Styling. There you go.
There we go.
You're 5th from the bottom.
Oh, it's not great. It's not great.
At least it's not the bottom.
Yeah.
Silver linings and all that.
There we go.
Well
I feel
done.
like I've made a mess. I want to tidy it up now.
Oh, don't worry. We'll tidy it up after. Let's head back over. Amazing. So how was that?
Amazing. So much fun.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. We've upgraded to peanut butter today because the shop didn't have any Nutella, but how was the peanut butter?
Yeah, pasty. Peanut butter's pasty.
To be honest, I think the Nutella was probably worse because it was really sticky.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah. I think I'm glad I got peanut butter actually because I think I've watched the other videos of your other guests and it looked like it was hard work.
Oh, it was very, very, very messy.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and thank you for doing your little magic with me as well.
Thank you.
Do you mind telling everyone at home where we can find you online and your podcast and everything?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram mostly at The Mindful Generation. My website is mindful-generation.com. And what else? My podcast is called Rewire and Thrive. And so you can also get snippets of hypnotherapy episodes on there if you want to have a little go yourself. I think that's it.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you,
and thank you to everyone for watching and listening at home. Please do head to titstumsandallthingsmum on Instagram and click the link in the bio to get your tickets for Tits on Tour. And please do drop us a comment, a like, subscribe, all the things. And I'll see you next time.